This one, I think, is a little bit thicker than the original one was. The arm dimensions should be the same, and the boss is a little bit bigger, but then again you're going to need to do machine work on it anyways. And the air blowing around it keeps this tip cool enough that it doesn't coke up. Okay, it doesn't burn all the volatiles off the oil, and you all of a sudden have, you know, a briquette at the end of your thing. And you're retired, I think it's getting a little thin, but it'll serve our purposes today. You don't want to mix your crucibles. You don't want to mix your metals in your crucible. This is hell in a bucket. And this is like hell in a bucket 3A.
Is this also silver?
All right. You also notice that there's a fillet around here too. Okay. There's a couple of reasons for that. Number one, again, it allows a clean draw from the sand. Number two, it also strengthens the casting, because and it should break cleanly when the sausage you make, you break it like that, okay? Shouldn't stick to your hand much. Now, the nice thing about this setup is you also don't need any locating pins so the two flasks can accurately come together. Right? This is going to be the parting line for our casting. Parting line is very important. If you have a two-piece mold, you want to place this. Rule of thumb, put in a kind of an angle right here, because we're also going to have to compensate for this larger mass of the boss. It's just that pattern. We can make as many bell cranks as you need. You know, if you gallon bucket, it's got expanded mesh on it. I like this because it kind of has a slicing motion in the sand with the expanded metal. Kind of, so you riddle your first layer of sand on. And the biggest reason, fill in the corners, and you don't pour the whole thing full at once. Take your rammer. Again, this is just the techniques I've developed. I go in a spiral pattern. You do the outside first, then you come back in, you go from the outside in, you just strike it off. And that is the correct term, is striking it off. And you can either call this a striker or a screed or whatever you want to call it. You can see how much I've used this. Put some back on, it just gives you a nice even spurt, and it's completely supported on here. Okay, it's gonna even out. Again, that's the correct term, rolling it over. That's literally what you want to do. You don't want it, if you can avoid picking it up, avoid picking it up. Put the bottom, take our top half, and you'll notice that I have alignment marks. I have some spray paint right here and some spray paint right here. It's embarrassing, pretty efficient. With the diatomaceous earth that I was using, fall cold that doesn't want to seem to come on all the way. The last 3 weeks, try hard to ram it. You ram it until it starts feeling resilient. That's the best way I can describe it. Until you start getting resistance, will last me for the rest of my casting career. Because, don't laugh, it works. It does everything you need to in the mold-out process. We're making what's known as a pouring cup. In industry and a larger casting, this is actually a fairly high-tech design, and it allows them to pour and have it pull it out. This is so that my sprue is kind of conical shape. Lift it off as straight as possible. Pardon me for just part is the part you want to have come out perfect. Let's face it. You also want, at the bottom of the sprue, you want a little well. A runner, I should say. This is where you need to study heat. This will allow any trapped air to escape, the water vapor to escape. Ends of our arms here, casting back. If your sand is of a good bond, you can get to this point without dumping it all over your feet. Vigorous back and forth Lord, please let this damn thing come out. Da, da. That's a good sign right there, actually. Yeah, I think it's still hot. What do you guys think?
It's a little red right there.